Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Kawneer number 133648-40. This is an exterior lever trim. When it comes out of the box, you're going to have the escutcheon and all of the operational components on the inside of the escutcheon. You're going to have a lever, and that lever gets installed in there. You will have two other components. You'll have your screw package, and then you'll have some Loctite. And you know, I obviously they're intending that you're going to use that everywhere where you're mounting the trim together, and that's going to be, you know, the bolts that will go through the door. I would expect it to be the handle as well that will be held on with some of the bolts that are in here. We'll take a closer look at what all of these bolts are, even though there are no installation instructions. So fill all the holes that you have on the back here when you're installing it. Test it to make sure it works, etc. Let's take some basic dimensional properties and we'll talk about what this is used for. Overall height of the escutcheon, about 8.5 inch. Overall width, about 1.75 inches. Thickness, or the projection I should say, about 7/8 of an inch. The handle itself, from the center line to the end of the lever, looks like it's about 4.5 inch, and it's going to have a projection, total projection, of about 2.5 inch. It's about 1 5/8 plus the thickness of our escutcheon here, so about 2.5 inch total projection. Okay. Now, what is this used for? Why would you be purchasing it? Let's talk about that now. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. Purchasing this exterior trim obviously goes along with the fact that you probably already have the exit device installed, or you're installing both of them. You wouldn't purchase this without the exit device. That would be a 1786 rim device. Kawneer has three types of panics. The panel line, which is very distinguishable because it is a mid-rail type of panic device. The touch bar assembly and all of its operational apparatus behind it are built into the door and act as a mid-panel, or a mid-rail, really. It has a very large surface area for the touchpad. Very distinguishable, you know, 8-inch tall, 10-inch tall, 30-inch wide, whatever the case might be. Then you have the rim device, which is the 1786. That's number 2, and that's a rim device. So it's a typical looking panic device as a rim. Then you've got the 1686, and that's the concealed vertical rod. So you can always figure out which one you have just by looking at it and then referring probably to the documentation to know, well, is that 16 or 1786? I always forget myself. This is for the 1786. So you're going to buy this because you need lever trim on the outside. Okay, the lever will come loose. It's a little bit of a chore to get that installed there. You can see that that spindle, well, the hub where the spindle goes into, is not exactly straight. So I kind of had to get it in there a little bit on an angle to lift that hub up. And it does go in. You just have to kind of get the hub lifted up, and then it will then go in. This is right now in the locked condition. This locking lever right here is what's governed by the that locking lever is what is governed by the
Sorry, could you say that again?
They're listening. Is governed by the cam on the back of the mortise cylinder. Okay, to lock that or unlock that exterior trim. That's just simply how that works. Okay. Yeah. Okay, and as I'm looking at this, I pause this video because as I'm operating, it becomes obvious to me that the tailpiece isn't turning. So we're going to have to discover the mystery as to why that's happening. What I'm trying to say is when this is unlocked, this tailpiece needs to rotate so that you can pull back the latch. We'll figure it out anyway. There's something to it. So very simple. Mortise cylinder, a standard cam would be fine. An Adams Rite cam would also work as well, and that will lock and unlock it. Now, speaking of that functionality, there is a video below this where I show how you can turn, not only myself, but a customer of ours as well sent me a video, how you can convert what is a classroom function, meaning you can leave it locked and unlocked, and you control that by the key. Well, we had a customer who said, hey, how can I turn that into a night latch or a storeroom function? And I said, well, let's figure it out. And we did. And there's, the bottom line is, in this video below here, you're going to see it's going to involve some modification. It's going to require possibly a different cam on the back of your mortise lock. And it can be done. And there's a couple of different ways to do it, at least two. I suspect that there might be more, depending on how extreme you want to take your, to what lengths you want to dive into to figure out different ways to turn a classroom into a storeroom function. I'm pretty sure there's a way that you can do it with limiting the rotation, maybe using a Brinks cylinder, but the way that we show, just by inverting the cam, modifying the cam, either a straight cam, a Marks, Kaba Ilko Mark style cam, or even a cloverleaf cam can be done as well. A couple of different ways to do that, and that video will show you how to do that. Let me show you the screw package. You're going to have I can't. Okay, all right, I get it. I see what we're doing. There are 6 machine bolts in here, and you clearly need I'm going to say 2. And again, there are no installation instructions. Yeah, definitely 2. Okay, so there are 6 machine bolts. You're going to use those down here. Okay, the reason there are 6 is because they must be able to accommodate 3 door thicknesses right out of the box. So the short one is going to be an overall length of 2 1/4. So that's I would think if you have a substandard door thickness, you'd use the 2 1/4. That's going to be pretty short for a typical 1 3/4 thick door, because that trim is recessed in there where those holes are tapped. The next length, the middle length, those are 2 1/2. I'd say that'd be the one I'd probably choose for an 1 3/4 thick door. And then you have, if these are 3-inch, then this would be for 2 1/4. Okay, 2 3/4. So, okay, so I'm going to say the 2 1/4 is probably, the short one's probably for 1 3/4. The next longest one, 2 1/2, I'd say that's probably going to be for a 2-inch thick door. And then, of course, you've got the 2 3/4, which would be likely for 2 1/4-inch thick doors. So the one that seems odd to me is the one that's for a 2-inch thick door. Obviously Kawneer has a door style that requires that length of screw. I'm not familiar with it, but it's there for a reason. So that's 6 of the screws, machine bolts that are in there. Then you're going to have as I'm just trying to figure out what these are all for. You're going to have a machine bolt that's different than the other 2, that will have a nylon washer and a star washer on it. I'm going to imagine that it's going to go through the head case to the back of the trim. It just doesn't seem right at all. We're going to see if the installation instructions will tell us more about that. Then there's going to be a couple of washers and there's going to be a couple of unusual flat washers. Then there's going to be a couple of star washers, but they're clearly different. I'm going to say that this one and maybe two of those washers will all go together to allow you to hold the lever on, would be my guess. And I'm thinking that's going to look like that. Thinking that's where that's going to go. There obviously needs to be a bolt up here. I'm not sure why there are two left over though. Okay, there are two. There could be one more in here than is necessary. And then an extra star washer. So I'm going to leave that as a mystery to the cosmos unless we come across it. I'm going to go with the fact that we've got enough parts to get this all installed. Otherwise I would call the factory. It's just, it is time consuming to get an answer. And while they always respond, there may not be an answer that we can obtain on that from them. The last two pieces are a retaining ring washer, and that is going to go right inside of here. And if you're familiar with mortar cylinders, you know that they have grooves on the side, and these little features at either end, that mortar cylinder will go through that. It's a bit of a hassle to get the cash box ring or threaded cylinder nut in there. You'll notice that at the tip of my finger, this locking lever, it's got a little notch down here. In order to get that mortise cylinder in, you can only turn it when the threaded ring sits inside of that notch that's down there. So what you need to do, and what I do is, I'm right-handed, I'll hold the cylinder with my right hand in here as I use my left hand, bringing the mortise cylinder just to the face of the nut, because the nut needs to be basically touching the inside of the trim, and then slowly rotating it. It's a bit of a hassle to get on, but you will get it on there. There's no doubt about that. So we have a couple of mysteries. Why is the timing of that tailpiece on the back of the trim not working correctly out of the box? That's weird. I would think that they should just hand them all one way, and then, well, if you need to reverse it, then you got to take it apart. So that's one mystery. Then the other mystery is an extra bolt. So at this point, we're going to switch to the next part of this video, and we'll try to figure out why that's not working. But I think what we'll do is we'll start with the installation instructions. There must be something there, so let's do that now. If you've not hit subscribe yet, we would very much appreciate if you did, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Now, let's get back to it. Okay, let's dive in closer to what we're working on. This is a 133648. The dash 40 means it's in a dark bronze. If that was dash 17, that would be an aluminum-based material, is what that would end up being. Okay, same handle, just aluminum. We have some images that we can take a look at down below, and let's take a look at those. The box, the contents of the box, the escutcheon, profile view, and that's that weird orientation of our tailpiece. Next set of images here, the lever handle, and that's just a I'm not exactly sure if it's just an aluminum handle. I think that it is. It's very light. Another profile view of it. You can tell it's powder coated, very durable paint. And then your fastener package and that Loctite that's there. They've obviously found that material is necessary. Now, what we have are some installation instructions. Let's take a look at those. And this will be for the 1786 exit. And talking about the exit device, and then we get to the trim. Optional trim. And you can see right away that in neither instance does it look like what we have, in the sense of that odd angled orientation. Trim mounting base is handed to accommodate a left or right hand application. To construct a left hand handle, rotate cam clockwise, making sure the cam pin aligns with slot on left side of cam guide. So we can't rotate our item at all, and we're certainly going to have to discover why that's the case. I can't turn it. Once the pin is in position, slightly push up and hold cam guide and cam while inserting lever handle firmly. Oh, maybe that's why. I already have the handle in. Well, we're going to figure out if that's the case. Let me pull the handle out. Yep, that's it. That's the stuff. I think that's the stuff. Yeah. Okay, let's take a closer look at that. Yeah, that's definitely it. So let's switch to the screen view and we'll pick this up. If you've made it this far into this video, you must be determined to see it through to the end, and we appreciate your hanging in there with us and watching this entire video. It means a lot. It takes a lot of work to create these videos in the sense that, you know, it's time taken away from doing other things. However, the advantage for me personally of creating these videos is the fact that it does allow myself to either learn about something new, to reacquaint myself with something, or to reinforce what I believe that I already know. Any comments that you might leave down below would be greatly appreciated. Thank you. So, classic path of discovery of installation instructions. What do we need these for? So, what I did was I pulled that lever handle out. Okay. And it was fixed like this. Well, I can now turn it this way or this way. So let's just rotate it counterclockwise. When I push this up as if the lever was actuating, okay, you can see that I'm rotating the lever. Okay, you can see that lever rotate. When I move it this way, you can see it rotates the opposite way. So before you go putting the lever on, make sure you've timed it correctly. So to construct a right-hand lever handle, rotate cam counterclockwise, making sure the cam pin aligns with slot on right side of cam guide. That's inside of here. I don't think that anything needs to be done for that to work. I've got it rotated counterclockwise, and this is a right-hand door, which would really be a left-hand reverse. There you go. Works exactly the way that it should. Okay? That's how you set the handing. So that operates, that will clearly retract the latch. It's correct for a left-hand reverse. Okay? And it rotates counterclockwise. Let's experiment. To construct a left-hand handle, which is a right-hand reverse, rotate cam clockwise. So now it's clockwise. Now we're going to do a right-hand reverse, or a left hand as they call it. Now that's rotating in the opposite direction. So that all works exactly correct. So remember, kids, read the installation instructions first. We've just demonstrated how to reverse that, and I think what we'll do is jump back to the screen view. We'll look at the rest of the installation instructions, and I have a feeling that some of our other mysteries are going to be resolved as well. So let's do that. Regarding the links to ads that you might see in this video, we do apologize for any interruption to a smooth viewing experience, and hopefully the ads that are being presented to you are related to the base product. And if there is something, feel free to click on those and perhaps consider taking a look at what that other advertiser is promoting. Let's get back to the video. Okay, so we have gone through to construct a left hand, or what we would call a right hand reverse. Rotate the cam clockwise. For a left hand reverse, it's the opposite way. That all works. Tail piece, you know, we demonstrated that it works. Assemble the 1/4x20 1/2-inch pan head fastener with one steel flat washer and one lock washer, and put that on the back to secure the lever. So one washer and one, well, I called it a star washer. So one flat washer and one of those star washers to secure the bolt. Insert a 15/16 mortise cylinder into the top of the mounting base, align mounting guide plate to key cylinder, and secure with retaining ring. So all that I demonstrated earlier without a mortise cylinder, saying it would be a little bit of a hassle to put that in. When using a key cylinder longer than 15/16, you're going to require trim rings to maintain an 1/8 inch cylinder projection. When using a dummy cylinder, okay, so if you have like a small format 7-pin core, you're going to need to block that cylinder off so that the tailpiece doesn't shoot too far inside of the housing itself. Now, find a 1/4-20 3/4 Phillips panhead fastener and apply several drops of thread locker liquid to lower threads. Install the Phillips head fastener into trim mounting base and set to accommodate 1/8 of an inch or 3/16 standard wall thickness. So I think what they're saying there is, so we were questioning, or I was questioning, why that screw was so short. Well, it's because it's going to only thread through the inside wall thickness of the door. So let's scroll down because I know it's here. You're going to hold that lever on with these screws that are here, and that's the top bolt that we're talking about. So that is going to be set to the wall thickness of the door itself. That's going to be literally screwed through the inside wall thickness. So you'll have your screws that will go through the door at the bottom that I had indicated earlier, where you had a total of 6. And that's because, as I had guessed earlier, the different door styles will require different length bolts: 1 3/4, 2 inch, and 2 1/4. So that was correct. You will only use 2 of the 4. Those will go down here as shown. You're going to have that bolt that they mentioned here, the 1/4-20 by 3/4, to hold it on up at the top. One of those bolts will be used for the pull handle. And then we had one left over, and I don't see where that's supposed to go. So that will remain a mystery. On the exterior side of door style, position lever handle trim assembly into cutout just below the fastener slot cutout. Being careful not to scratch the exposed surface. Slide lever handle trim assembly up to disengage fastener and slot. So they're talking about getting that installed, and the slot is mentioned here. So you're going to create that slot. You're going to install that screw. You're going to put the trim in and then move it up. And then you're going to tighten that screw, obviously through the back side access. Thread lock they mentioned there as well, a couple of times in fact. Then you've got the 2 screws at the bottom, lever handle trim assembly. They talk about that. Then insert the key cylinder. So you get the orientation of the tailpiece. You understand how to do that. The lever has to go on. You have to secure the lever on. As they call out here, make sure it works, like I demonstrated. You're going to get that screw put on, and you're going to leave the amount of gap that is necessary for the thickness of the door. You'll slide it in, you'll scooch it up. You're obviously going to have a couple of holes drilled and countersunk on the egress side of the opening for those screws to go in to secure it. And once you get the outside trim completely secured to the opening, then you'll bring the inside as well. This tailpiece obviously is going to have to most likely be cut back. Assuming we're dealing with 1 3/4, but here in Southwest Florida, I see 2 1/4 aluminum storefront as well. You may not need to cut it, but you might need to. Plan on that. You're going to want to be sure to carefully cut that. Don't bend it or just try to, just because it has some score marks, don't try to snap it with a plier. You'll want to carefully cut it so that remains utterly straight. And I really think that covers everything regarding the this exterior trim. So, like I said earlier, now, it's also a path of discovery when you find out the wrong way that it goes together, because quite frankly, well, let's switch to the screen view and we'll wrap it up. But first, let me show you where some resources are. Let me go back to the 40, the dark bronze. Okay. Service parts catalog, finishes, installation instructions. This we just covered. Service parts catalog, this is the document that will have all things Kawneer service parts related. 133648. It's in the catalog. There it is. The exit devices are here. The strikes for it are here. Mullions. Parts are here. Replacement dogging devices are here. If you want to convert to a manual to a motorized latch retraction, they've got a part for that as well. So this manual, I refer to it practically every time I have a call that I can't answer off the top of my head. Then, of course, we have finishes. Shouldn't be too much here. As far as I know, only the 17 and the 40 are available. I don't think this is done in 29 finish, which is black. But this is really a finish chart when it comes to their doors. Doesn't mean all their hardware is available in it. Then there's a link below this video as seen here to the manufacturer's page. And from here you can pull up not only all the Kawneer parts that we sell by means of this horizontal navigation, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the service parts catalog and several prior versions of it, and other encyclopedic documents are here as well. Let's wrap up this video on camera. Okay, to wrap it up, we've got that positioned how it needed to be, and I inserted the lever, so that will come out. And then that's really it. Unfortunately, this did not include installation instructions. This video will show you, of course, where to find them, because if you're like me and you're going to try it without the installation instructions, I ended up taking all of this apart. And there's not much to it. These two screws come out. You've got a spring and a ball bearing underneath here. You don't want to lose any of that. This spring is quite cantankerous. There's only one way to put it in. Bring this assembly in and then just pull it back and get all of this seated underneath the hub that's here, the spindle hub. So it'll go back together, but at the end, because I was investigating, why is it like this? Why did that not turn for me? Okay. Why, when I installed the lever, did that not turn for me? Turns out I was locking it in place and I hadn't adjusted it to the proper orientation yet. So you'll definitely, in my opinion, want to, get the installation instructions first on that. The name Kawneer is synonymous with aluminum storefront. Their name is everywhere as it pertains to aluminum storefront. There are lots of people who do aluminum storefront material. In my experience, only Kawneer is as helpful, in my experience, to the traditional commercial door and frame distributor when compared to other aluminum storefront manufacturers. They are very engaged with our industry, the typical steel door, architectural wood door distributor. They're very engaged. And it's because I would imagine they want Division 8 people to be able to supply their material, or at least to be able to play in their sandbox, so to speak. Where I'm going with all of that is, I really took it apart. Where I'm going with all of that is, every time that I contact them directly or indirectly, they always provide the information. In fact, I would argue that they provide more than what's requested. Technical drawings, detailed drawings, answers when they're possible, tapping the shoulder of the right person inside the factory who may have the answer. They have always gone above and beyond when it comes to tech support, and to them for that I say thank you very much. My opinion on Kawneer hardware is that it's a means to an end for them. They're not in the hardware business, but they need hardware to sell their doors. So, we might say it's difficult to get answers from aluminum storefront people. Yeah, I think it's because hardware is a botheration. And I think that's evidenced by the fact that they have pivots that go on these doors that cost $25 if you're going to replace them. and exterior aluminum storefront get the most cycles of any of these applications where they're installed in, and yet they've got the least robust hardware, the hanging device, installed on this material. To me, it's proof that, you know, it's not as important as the life expectancy of the opening as it is just the material being supplied itself. Whereas in our industry, we're thinking about pivots that will hold for sure 300 pounds or 500 pounds or 1,000 pounds, or continuous hinges. You know, door closers that are rated for the application that will last, you know, an appropriate amount of time based on the volume that will go through the opening. But they're always very helpful, and that makes up. So if you have any questions on the 133648, and this is in the 40 finish, or any other Kawneer item, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you. Again, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.